Well, this is interesting. It's live streaming on its own. I just want to make sure it's live streaming in the right place, which it looks like it is, which is great. And let's see if I'm over here on. Yep. We're coming along here, which is pretty awesome. I want to record over here. So we have this. Nice. Okay, so let's see how things are going for everybody. Let's give it a few minutes and see who might be coming in and who can join us. I'd love it if somebody could. Anybody would. That would be awesome. If not, you know what? I'm good at winging it. So let's just take care of this one. So many little things to do. Yes. So come on in on the Zoom. The link is here on the page. Please, that would be awesome. I'd like to know how you did with this. Yesterday we missed it. And today we're still, we've got some things to cover. So how did you guys do? I think we're going live on YouTube also. So it always takes just a little minute to get this going, doesn't it? Yes. Okay. So perfect. Come along with me and let's see what we can do. Come in on the Zoom link. I'm excited to hear from you guys. Yesterday, we covered visioneering. Get my notes. I got notes and notes and notes and notes and notes. And I hope you guys do too. So let me know if you need the link. I don't think I can see you. Maybe I can see you on the Facebook page if I get my tablet set up. Let's take a look there. So yesterday we had a storm come through. We did have it. It was a pretty horrendous. There was hail and all kind of stuff. Super horrendous for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And then that was the end of that. Hi, Cheryl. I see that you're here on Facebook. Wonderful. Yay. This is what I can tell what's going on a little bit, maybe. Maybe. Not positive. So let's see, what else do I need to know? Yep. I think we're good. So how did y'all do on the assignments? Those were pretty interesting little assignments, weren't they? Tell me what's going on. I need someone to come talk to me. Where is all my friends that love to come chit chat? You trying to get in and it's not letting you? Which wouldn't surprise me at all, because that happens a lot. I'm letting Miss Bonnie in. So Debbie, you have the tidbits Zoom trying to open. Yep, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Not funny how stuff happens like this.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Oh, I made it.
You did. And it's sunny outside today.
Oh, that's good. So no thunderstorms coming your way, huh? Oh, my son is in Orlando right now, and he sent me some footage of the thunderstorms he was looking at. I'm like, is he in Houston? How big is this storm? How are we doing? Are other people trying to get on?
Debbie said she's on the tidbits Zoom trying to open the wrong one. It's doing its funkiness, you know.
Trying to get on.
Oops, hold on. Stop. That's not what I want. Zoom. Hold on.
Well, it sounds like you're on Facebook.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is see what's being said. Because it's
I saw Cheryl there too.
Cheryl
on Facebook right before I
Zoom. Debbie McMasters, will you post the Zoom link here? I can try. Let me try my bestest. Meeting ID. I can copy the link. Let me go to Facebook booking face and
Looking face.
booking face. That'd be like a German word.
That's a good one.
Isn't
Hey,
it?
even under stress and duress, you make a funny. Booking face.
Face. We just can't help it. You know, some of us are crazy all the time.
I want to see my friends on booking facing.
So here we go. Debbie's coming in. Yes. The link there too. If Cheryl
I
can.
see her.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now I can't get this thing on Facebook to get smaller where I can watch all the comments. There's Cheryl.
Yay.
There
Yes. There's my friends.
Yay!
Cheryl, you're so adorable. She said she had 5:30 her time.
Yay!
Okay, I'm sideways.
No, you're good.
Well, we can't see her.
We see a picture of you. Now you're sideways.
Okay, because y'all are sideways. I figured I must be sideways.
Now you're straight. Are we straight?
Okay. Yep.
Probably because you're on your phone, right?
Yep. But
Yeah.
usually I can do that and I can do sideways, but here I am.
Hi, Debbie.
It worked real fine an hour ago.
Maybe you put your phone on lock and you didn't know it.
Well, speaking of that, I need to probably turn mine off on silent.
No, I just couldn't find the link again.
Oh,
Really?
I mean, I found it before in the Facebook thing, but then I couldn't find it again.
I know.
In the
Crazy.
Facebook booking?
Whatever.
Yeah.
We made up
Facing booking.
Okay.
We made up a new word while you guys were in the ethers.
Yep.
Facing booking.
I'm so happy you guys are here. And I still can't see comments, of who else might be showing up really. But y'all were so funny yesterday when I got off. Bonnie and Debbie, y'all were hilarious. And then the whole thing was being recorded, and it's on YouTube and it's on our Facebook group. And I love it because it's like, you know what? You come over here to this world, you see what you get. You get us. There's no hiding nothing. We're just there.
It's fun. It was just so creepy and eerie to see you and hear, with that. I mean, in a good way, not in a weird way. It was so creepy cool to see that thing behind you thinking into results, and then to hear the thunder and lightning. I'm like, and then all of a sudden you disappear. It's like,
All I needed was my crystal ball. It's right here with me, and it's sitting around here somewhere, but I have a few of those. You know me, I'm a crystal person, stones and all kind of stuff.
yeah, baby.
So let's talk a little bit about yesterday's stuff. How did y'all do with watching the training yesterday where Arash talked about, or Bob, somebody talked about visioneering, and more so about attitude, visioneering and attitude. And there was something else. There's much more. I lost my notes now.
Goals.
Goals.
Goals was briefly mentioned. Goals was covered a lot more today. Bob talked on goals. But I like that Sandy was talking about visioneering. And okay, Arash, I'm remembering now, Arash was talking about self-image and attitude, how they all go hand in hand. So Sandy said, live in your imagination. I'm like, duh. That's what we are working on. That's what we are about. We are Imagineers. That's what we want to be, is live in our imagination. Create the vision of what you want and live there. She said, don't let the five senses lead your life. Work from your divine gifts, the higher mental faculties, intellectual faculties, and hold your imagined picture in your mind through your will, and constantly come back to that picture on the screen of your mind. And it soon will come into form. The universe will provide people, ways, means, ideas for you to get there. Isn't that great? And she talked about this book that I love, Genevieve Brand, Your Invisible Power. This was her Bible for a long time. We totally disappeared, don't we? I like it. So there's lots of good nuggets in this book, lots of good stuff. So what did y'all get on visioneering? Anything?
You have to get super clear on what it is that you want.
That's true. You need to make sure you're not stuck someplace that you got what you visioned, what you said you wanted, but it wasn't exactly lined out right. Yeah, that happens. That happens. But, you know, the universe provides. So there you go. What's this say? The exercise of your something. Intellectual faculties, of your higher mental faculties. Keep your mind in, by using the higher mental faculties and visualizing keeps your mind in order, and order is heaven's first law. Did we know that? What do you think about that comment?
Well, I think if order was not the universe's first law, we wouldn't be here. Because we are an ordered system. Thank goodness.
This is true. This is true. Go ahead.
Oh, well, no, go, you go.
Go. Let me finish your thought.
Well, I was going to kind of back up a little bit and talk about how refreshing it is to be encouraged to use my imagination, because, you know, that is a skill that I am reigniting, have been now for several years, but it's refreshing to be reminded of it again, and to hear that it's safe and actually smart to stay in your vision, you know, somewhat singularly focused on your vision, and maybe even have it in the back of my mind at all times, even when the movie screen of my life is playing. You know, I'm singularly focused really on this vision, and as I'm focused on this vision, the movie of my life plays out and changes, and things come in to my movie screen that I want to see. And it's kind of where I've gotten to over the years with this timeless advice that Proctor Gallagher is giving. You know, this is Miss Bonnie's version.
I love Miss Bonnie's version. Bring it, baby, bring it.
Yeah. So that's just what I wanted to say. I'm just really happy. My big takeaway is being reminded that the imagination is quite powerful.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm so glad you're saying you're being reminded, because we are not programmed to do that practice. You know, we have been pretty much, I don't want to say the word beaten, but it has pretty much been, what's a better word for beaten? But it's pretty much been taken totally away from us. Don't do that. You're just in a fairyland, and you can't do that. Don't. But
you gotta
it's one of our creative gifts.
Yeah.
And be specific. If you train yourself in the practices and carefully examine it. So you train yourself in the practice and be specific, and then test it. Live your visualized future experience now. Now, when you start living it now, you feel this huge shift in your heart and your chest area. It's just kind of like, this is so wonderful. This is so beautiful. I am so happy that I'm here. I'm so grateful that I can return to here when things are going wonky for me. I can just get quiet, go back into my heart, go back into my screen of my mind where I have my picture, where I'm comfortable, safe, happy, supported, and affluent in every area. So I love that. And this is the other thing that she said. When you worry and doubt, it quickly turns into fear. Worry and doubt quickly turns into fear. So choose knowledge and study. So choose knowledge plus study becomes faith, which becomes well-being, expression, acceleration, at ease, and creation. Also, it says here, I have a note, hurry. Hurry is fear and consequently destructive. Because why are you hurrying? What are you gonna miss something? Is something gonna go wrong? Is something gonna happen that's not gonna be right for me? I need to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. But when Bob has given us an article, and I think we had it on our last training, about a sense of urgency. When you read through that article, it gets you, you understand you can be calm and get more things done more efficiently without having to redo stuff because you hurried into it. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. This union, it's a union. Isn't that great? Who's got something else to share about this? I know you took a lot of notes, Debbie.
Are you reading from your notes that you took while watching that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm marveling at how different our notes are.
Well, I'm kind of skipping around, but that doesn't surprise me. Give me an example.
So I listened to Sandy pretty closely, and I thought I took some pretty good notes, and yeah, I didn't catch that part. So it's interesting to me that you can watch and think you're really paying attention and you're taking good notes, and it's coming in, and you know you're receiving it, and then you listen to the notes that somebody else took and understand that you were watching the same thing, but they heard something more or different. And I'm just marveling in the fact that, having things on repeat is a thing that I need to do for sure, because the next time I view that, I won't hear I'll hear what I heard before, but I'll understand it in a new way, and maybe catch that part that you just said.
Well, that's why it is so important. You just validated repetition. Repetition. One of the things we do in our training in the program, Thinking to Results, we take each lesson. This is what I have behind me is lesson 1 for 2 weeks. So I introduce the lesson 1, and then there's the video with Bob and Sandy that you watch in lesson 1, and you watch it every day. The video doesn't change. How you see the video and how you are aware of some of the words that were there in the video all along that you didn't catch, and you become more and more ingrained with it. And then you do the worksheets, and you do something with the worksheets every day, and then it's like, oh, well, this is different today. This is better, or this isn't so good. But you just grow through it. So yeah, this is Bob. I can now see why Bob can take a paragraph in this book or any book that he's working on and study and read that paragraph or that page for 6 weeks or 6 months or even longer until he feels like he has totally absorbed what the deepest meaning of it is. And since I've been studying with this group, with what I do, I see it. I'm like, wow, where did that come from? Oh my God, I don't want to listen to that again. I heard that. I've heard that. I've heard that. Wow, where did that come from? It's just a marvel. Our little human brains are set up for certain things, certain ways, and our paradigms are set up to help us accept things in a certain way or reject things in a certain way. And when we catch what it is that we want to really be part of and accept, and we have done an exercise where we realize that there's a paradigm that's an old behavior that is kind of blocking that, then you figure out a way to change that. Then you're aware of that. And that's when you do more spaced repetition, gets that into your subconscious. So you have a new paradigm in there. Why did we go down that path? Why are we going there? Everybody's blank face. Oh, Debbie.
Why are we going down the path of learning? Or why are we going down the path of the old paradigm?
Of me just talking. Let.
Oh, well, I thought you were going down that path because you're awesome. What other reason is there? I'd like to hear what Debbie's notes are.
I know.
I bet she caught some awesome stuff. I think you might be selling yourself a little short there, Missy.
I'm sure she is.
Well, I kind of like take highlights from each paragraph that they say. So if we're talking about what Sandy was talking about, so just create your world, trigger your higher faculties, imagination and will. Think Spanx, Starbucks, how those people brought those things to life in the world because it was a vision that they had, and now look at Spanx and Starbucks. So I thought that was interesting. Live in your imagination. Your imagination is your gateway, your path, your destiny. What do you want? And what you really want equals your heart's desire. And you have to think into results, like Bob's book says. And it's a heavenly thing to visualize. And when you visualize, you should also be thinking of how can I serve? And there might not be physical evidence. You just have to believe that your dreams will manifest. That's what I got from Sandy.
And that's perfect. And she said all that. She absolutely covered all that. Yes. And about it being heavenly, it's like it must be heavenly to visualize because it is heaven's first order. About order is heaven's first law. And by visualizing, you're creating this order for you. So that's when she said it must be heavenly to visualize. And it's just so great. And I thought it was interesting that Bob had her study this book by Genevieve Moran, Your Invisible Power. So that's what Bob told her to study. And then he gave her amount of time to study, and then he threw her up on stage to teach it.
Nothing like getting thrown on in the mix.
And there's another thing that I wanted to bring attention to about that. She got up there and she was teaching it. She was doing really good. And it was like only 15 minutes had passed when she was expecting it to be an hour. But what is so interesting, when she looked at Bob for his support or some advice or some wisdom or some nurturing, he turned his back on her.
Mm.
You know why he did that?
So she would stand on her own 2 feet.
Because she had this. It was all deep. Everything we need that we already have is within us. So she had to bring it out.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Okay.
That's good.
And then they talked about attitude and self-image, which comes into what they had a study for today with the audio of the magic word.
Mhm.
The magic word is all about attitude. And it brings forward your self-image. So I love that they gave us that today. The magic word is wonderful. One of Bob's assignment is he has people listen to that every day for 90 days. And I've done stretches of listening to it, but I also have it, in the different programs I'm studying too. So it comes across in many different ways. But it is so important. Attitude controls your whole environment, controls your whole world, your whole life. And you don't really recognize that you can choose how you want your attitude to be. You can choose it.
I got a little story.
Okay, story time, love it.
Well, when I was in a really confusing part of era of my life, I was working as an occupational therapy assistant for the public schools, and I knew that I wanted to do something else. I didn't really know what, but I just knew that I did. And I've told you guys before, I did this network marketing thing, and this is where I was introduced to these thought leaders who really did change everything about the way I think. And Earl Nightingale was one of the people. I can hardly wait to listen to that audio with Bob and Earl. I love Earl Nightingale. He just absolutely changed my worldview. I had like one of these, I don't know if it was Lead the Field. It was another one of his programs. What was it? We had Lead the Field. Janine's listening in too.
Oh, good. Hi, Janine.
Hi, Madeline. She really wanted me to sit up in here today so she could hear.
Hi, Janine.
We're all saying hi, Janine. We love you.
Debbie's here and Cheryl.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Madeline.
And everybody on the replay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, all the replay people.
Well, we both listened to this, and we listened to it over and over and over. I wore that thing out. It was a big, thick thing of CDs. I popped it into my car CD player. I hung on his every word. And when I started using some of the beautiful techniques like I'm hearing Bob talk about, it did change my attitude. It totally did. I was in the middle of a really tough time. Some of the schools that I was at were inner city, and they were rough. And the mood there was really bad, really low, I should say. People were doing the best they could, but it was rough. And when I said, well, no, I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to go in there with a good attitude. I'm going to be cheerful. That's the whole thing about Earl Nightingale. He loves cheerfulness, right? And I'm going to be cheerful. And I'm going to go in there, and I don't care how morose anybody else is. I'm just going to keep my attitude. And, things turn around so fast. Yes. Attitude, it really is everything. I know it sounds cliche.
No, it's not, because it's putting the vibration, your body is putting off that vibration, that frequency. Mm-hmm. And you can only bring to you like frequency. So what you're sending off, this excitement, this happiness, this cheerfulness, those that aren't in that way are going to just kind of like move away from it. Because when you turn the magnets against each other, they repel. But like connects with like. So it's like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes, Debbie.
You know, it was interesting for me. My opinion about attitude now is different. I always thought that like you could have a good attitude and still have a bad attitude about that subject, and don't care about attitude for that subject, or an angry attitude about that subject, but it was not an overall all encompassing attitude that was behind the attitude towards that thing, right?
Mhm.
So it's interesting for me to think of attitude as a whole approach, which will ultimately alter your attitude about a subject, right?
Well, because it drives your self-talk. And if you're mumbling and grumbling in your head about something you're not agreeing with or not wanting to be whatever, that's why we've learned to just say that's good, or find something that's good in it and just let it be. There's no need for us to get into that frequency of aligning with, nah, I don't like it. I'm not going to deal with that. That just doesn't work for me at all, at all, at all. How many walls are you putting up? And what does that do? What does that do? And Arash said, you can never outperform your self-image or attitude.
Right.
So we're a work in progress. We constantly are, but at least we have the skills and the tools, and the training coming through, that we just keep bringing ourselves back. Just check and bring yourself back. It's a way reframe. They talked today about reframing into this afternoon's coaches corner with Monica and D.H. Gates, I think, about what do you do to reframe when you get yourself in a certain attitude in a certain way. Well, you start applying the tools and the skills that we have. And he said now he's done it for so long, he can pretty well catch himself right away. And a lot of times, for me, if I don't catch myself, if I've said something, one of my kids is going to say, Mom, I thought you talked about blah, 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 blah. And I thought you're all into this blah, 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 blah. Do you know what you said to me? Like, no, what did I say? You said this. Why would you limit me? Like, I didn't mean to. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So sometimes you don't get to reframe yourself. You have outside help to reframe you. I mean, she called me up on the carpet over it. And I'm like, okay. So interesting. All right. Cheryl, you are as quiet as a mouse over there.
Yeah, it's a blur between yesterday and today. So, I mean, today I was at a point I could take notes, but so the biggest shift at the moment was that I identify as, like the example of someone losing weight, So for me, it's like, okay, I identify as the highest health that I can be mentally and physically. I identify with that. And if that's your paradigm shift, then that affects how you feel when you don't think that way. I mean, that's the part I get, is when you're back in a different paradigm, it's like, this doesn't feel good. This feels different. You can feel that vibration shift.
You can. And that's when you
and the doing things, doing the small things, what did he say? 2 to 6 or something, small things, helps with that feeling that matches, that belief, that statement, that belief. And I love today, Bob singing along with that song,
Isn't
at the
that
end of his speech.
amazing? That's his favorite song.
I know, it's like I couldn't get it out of my head for a while.
It is his favorite song, and he's always claimed that to be his favorite song. He's so
So-
adorable.
So I've just really kept it simple about, okay, that's the biggest shift I need to make right now is I am a person who, and have all of those thoughts and beliefs and action and the feeling of what that feels like to believe that that's who I am. So,
Well, and like Arash talked about yesterday and today, is that our spiritual DNA is
Right.
whole and perfect. It's all knowing. I have it written down on one of my notes somewhere, but the spiritual DNA is what, when we're in a funk,
that it's perfect and needs no change or renovation or something. Yeah.
right. And go back to breathing that in, because then that helps to bring you back into connecting with your true divineness. And I'm so glad that he brought that forward yesterday and today. And I did write it down somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Debbie, did you get that written down?
I wrote it down today.
It's
It's
all
your
knowing,
spiritual DNA.
all knowing, all powerful, ever present, the real you.
Mhm.
It's your God, and you've got God-given gifts. Wow. Who else has something? Cheryl, thank you. Just you keep going if
Yeah,
you want.
and that's your identity. That's my identity.
Yeah. And so when we're feeling bad, it's our paradigm that has been trained upon us and borrowed from other people that is acting up just to surface. And we just have to say, you know what? I've moved past you. Now I know I am who I am. And I'm ready for you to, let's just shift you. Let's just, if you can't get along, then get out. Get along, little doggy. Get in line or get out. Yes, Miss Bunny.
Well, instead of having sort of these wonderful notes that I'm going to admit to not taking notes, but I've got an overarching, like an umbrella view of how grateful I am that this time in history, these thought leaders are getting this stuff out on a massive scale. I mean, they have been doing this for years, right? But let's face it, man, they used to have to just send out postcards to people and,
That's
they did it old school. And here they are using the power of the internet now. And thank goodness they did all this filming of Bob when he was alive.
Yes.
And, that with this skillful editing and whatnot, they can continue to get, I'm getting chills now, continue to put this message out, because if there is one thing that we need in this world right now is people understanding how to own their thoughts, how to own their mind, how to make decisions for themselves, how to understand themselves, understand this bridge between desire and reality. It's just, it's becoming as mainstream as I've ever seen it. And I am so grateful. That's really what that I got out of this whole, few days I've been watching. It's like, thank goodness they're getting this word out. And I can tell you, the word has not changed much. I've called it old school, but you know what is, when it's sage advice, like, the sages of 5,000 years ago still applies.
That's right.
It's sage advice when it applies over all ages and time. I'm like, wow, this is cool. They're saying the same thing, but it applies today just as much as it did 50 years ago or whatever. I didn't listen to it 50 years ago, but you know what I mean? That's when they were kind of hanging out, getting together and at a bar or a coffee house and saying, man, we got to get this word. We got to make some little CDs. We got to get some people together in a hotel room and talk about this. Now look at them. They're pretty cool.
It's like like Bob said, that was his goal, to spread this all. When he got a hold of it and it started changing his life, and wasn't knowing how. It took him 9 years to figure out how, which now we're learning the how. Then he said he wanted it to go all over the world, in every continent, every country in the world. And it is now. It is. But on his last event that he was live with us on, they announced that he was in every big country, little country, everyone in the world. So his goal, and I have chills, he met his goal before he left the body.
That's so cool. Good for him.
Yeah. So
And
this is being spread all around. So yeah.
And it works on a small scale. This is the thing. You know, these techniques work for us on a small scale. Maybe right now I don't have a goal of getting my program into every country in the world. Maybe I don't have that goal. Someday it might happen, but at this point it is not my immediate goal. That's a big goal, right?
Big goal.
But these techniques work for anybody, for anything. No matter how small or big somebody wants to shift their life. And that is what I can say firsthand, knowing what I know, and also having watched other people kind of dream big and see it happen using these techniques. So it's pretty rad.
And that's why they stress, do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work. Otherwise, you vision it and you daydream it, but then it just turns into a pipe dream if you don't follow it up with the work. And you'll get inspired of the how to do it. You don't start with the how and try to figure it out, because that's not the type of goal you want. You know, Bob goes for those big stretch goals, those ones that you could never eat, like his big goal. You know, it's like you can not fathom that to really happen, but that's what's keeping your soul on fire. You know, it's lighting you up. That's what you really want, no matter what. And like Monica said something interesting. What she had said, she had written a goal down, and Bob was watching over her shoulder. And he said, do you believe that goal? And she said, well, I want to. And he said, well, now that's not going to work, is it? And then he looked at her and he said, now think. Now think. So she put all of her knowledge together and worked to where that goal then became a driving desire for her. But what did she say? I thought it was so neat. My pages aren't numbered. But the goal is.
Is it the part about I love building me?
That's good. But what she said is your goal is 24/7, 365 days.
Yep.
In other words, yeah. This is when she was talking with in the coach's corner. Anyway, but basically your goal wants your undivided attention, wants your love, wants to always be right there with you. When you have the right goal, you have it with you 24/7. It's always mentally part of you and in your heart. You do your things, your physical things with your family and all that stuff, but your goal, you have the right goal, is right there with you the whole time. That's part of what she was saying. Debbie, what else do you have? You're muted, honey.
Explore your daydream all day, and take the action, do it, and live it. The only way to create permanent change is from action. And they said something interesting today. The first thing that we should change is the way we dress. And I thought that was very interesting. I can understand the the psychology behind it, but I don't really see the link. Like in my situation, I don't see anybody all day long. I'm just here flopping around this piece of property, and I am going to wear my t-shirts and my sandals and my shorts, So if I chose to dress differently, I think I would just be uncomfortable.
Well, sometimes you dress in a nicer type of t-shirt, and you get when you're going to go do some videos or something, and it makes you feel better inside. Sometimes when you get yourself all spiffied up, because this is acting from your goal being completed. What would that person that you made this goal, and you have this great business now going, and you're working with all these people, what does that person look like? So it's dressing from your goal completed is what they're talking about.
Okay.
Now, granted, we work from home a lot, so we don't dress up like that every day. But I do know if I spend the day in my jammies, I don't feel as motivated or as inspired. I don't feel as connected to my goal 24/7 than if I had gotten up, got something decent on, played with some makeup on my face, maybe put some extra jewelry on that I have hidden away somewhere. It's just, and make different little bracelets. Those little things make a lot of difference to me. And it makes a lot of difference to how I show up. For whether anybody comes to my house or not, I feel better. I feel better.
Lipstick is magic. I mean, it is. They say that all the time. Even if you don't see anybody, you feel like, for the elderly, the minute you put lipstick on, you feel much different than if you're in your pajamas all day. I agree with that. It's that act as if.
They perk up. Now, don't get me wrong. I've sold a lot of stuff in my jammies. I do fine in my jammies, but my inside feeling is kind of like, I'm excited. I'm happy. I did this, but I would be more happier. So if I'm not in my jammies and my sister comes home from work late afternoon and she says, "Hey, you want to go out to eat?" I don't have to go, "Yeah, no," in my job, or "Well, give me a little bit." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do it." That's part of the driver behind it. And it depends on what your goal is. If you have a corporate goal, to go out in front of all the suits, then you have to be in line with that. But we have different goals than that. A lot of people are still in corporate. A lot of people have that need to dress up. My oldest daughter, for one, she's a financial advisor for multi-million-dollar accounts, and they come into the office all the time. So she's always dressing to the nines, and then she'll come here and look at my closet and she'll go, "Oh," and I'm like, "Leave me be." Leave me be.
I think we do that when we set up our space to do our work. It's not just how we dress. In my profession, I think if someone's going to pay me, I need to look as professional as possible. I need to have the background look as professional as possible, because that's what I'm presenting, is who I am, and I'm acting as if.
Yes.
I mean, the minute the Zoom call's over, I may be back in bed, but for that moment, I'm, up and going.
Exactly.
The one thing that keeps going across my mind during this conversation, especially in the very beginning about visions, we don't hear that anymore. That's a person of vision. We hear that's a person of passion, maybe, but we don't hear that phrase anymore. You know, they talk about old fashioned, that's a person of vision.
Because that's been taken away from us for so many years. We don't.
Well, and it's different than a person of passion. They're two separate things. I mean, usually it's after the fact we say, oh, that was a person of vision. You know, they had this idea to create a computer or Spanx, and, you know, that's what drove them. But they also had a vision about that. So I like that word. It's of a person of vision. And so maybe that's can be a piece of my new identity. I want to be a person of vision.
I love it. And then just live it. Live up to that. Perfect. Wonderful. Because when you're a person of vision, then you develop that passion to go with that vision.
Yeah. But that's that part about being in your imagination. It's a different level up than that also. But I think you need the playfulness of being creative.
Absolutely.
But that is like that one word has been kind of missing in our culture for a while.
In our world. Yeah. Absolutely. Judy said she's on Facebook watching us.
Hi, Judy. If this is a good time to insert, I have something to say about the dressing for success thing.
Mm-hmm.
My take on it is to dress to the audience you want, to the audience that you desire. Be yourself always. Like everybody I see on this call right here, they're being themselves totally, right? But I'm not real convinced that getting out of your t-shirts and flip-flops is gonna hurl you towards success, Debbie. Right? I mean, it's got to be what resonates with you. And if, for instance, teaching Qigong is what you want to do, and that's what you want to do, and you want to do it online or in person, that's pretty much a yoga pants situation,
Exactly.
right?
And that's their successful dressing.
Yeah. It's like getting those Spanx. That's why they're rich. So it's all about this is something that I've been sort of throwing in the furnace, in the fire of, polishing the stone. I want my professional life and my personal life to be completely congruent. Like, I'm tired of being somebody I'm not, and then come, for the sake of professionalism. I've done that, been there, done that. And it's important to do, especially if you are continuing in a professional, you have to speak to the profession that you're in. But if, in fact, I'm at the point where I'm creating my own economy and creating my own profession, I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely.
Nobody's going to tell me what to do. That's Miss Bonnie, so, when you are doing, when you're speaking to your audience and you are doing your Qigong, well, you're going to have, I would imagine, you're going to have your set and your clothing to match that, right? Every other time, hang out in your friggin' flip-flops. They rock. You're in California. That's what we do.
And look at me. Can you see my picture back there? See?
Yeah, and you look beautiful there.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with dressing up.
It's still me. It's still me, regardless of I look like this or I look like that.
Yeah, totally. I like dressing up. Whenever Janine and I get it dressed up and go out somewhere, everybody goes, wow, you clean up good. How many times have we heard that?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So,
Bonnie, I see it as just matching the vibration of what you're talking about, like walking your talk.
Absolutely.
If I'm going to be the teacher and I'm talking about being calm, then that's success it's not success like dress for success, like we heard before, that's a suit and a tie or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about matching the vibration of, just like you said, your audience, but also your vision.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah,
And
of
in
what
your-
I am.
in your profession, Cheryl, it's, you are really literally in a professional role,
But a lot of people in my profession, if you can only see the top, the shirt they wear represents more about who they are also as a person, but it's also a professional aspect of who they are. So people see me, they think, oh, she's a little, which I want them to think, she's a little out there. So, which I want them to think.
Yeah,
So I think that goes back just in line with matching the vibration up.
that's right.
It doesn't mean you have to walk around in high heels all day long. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
good luck with that.
yeah. But that's the whole point. If that's your identity, then match your identity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's the whole thing that I wanted to share here, is that
Perfect.
each of us, match what vibration we want to be on and shine with it.
I mean, this is my pajama thing. I've got a whole bunch of these slip-on, looks really nice. I get a lot of compliments on it. And it's like wearing nothing. It's like wearing a nightgown, and it's my uniform.
Well, and it's adorable on you.
It's totally cute.
Yeah. So it kind of matches the way I want to feel on or off the camera.
There you go.
But it matches. This is who this is who I am. I'm with you. Authentic. Something authentic that has to come by. And I think that what this conversation today is about is we broaden our concept of what we are authentically.
Yeah.
That we're a spiritual being whose DNA is perfectly formed. And we need to walk and talk and act like that. And I've been out of sync with that for a while. So that's why it's really resonating with me, is walk and talk, that paradigm. I got spiritual DNA. I don't know quite yet what we're doing on this world next week, but I got spiritual DNA.
That's right. That's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know.
That will get you far. That will get you where you need to be. There's another point I wanted to cover that I noticed. It's about when you feel stuck and why you're stuck. And according to what all of these learned, very skilled coaches, and I agree, is when you're stuck, you're either need to look at your attitude or look at your goal, because it's not driving you, it's not exciting you, and it could be both. Because if your goal is lying flat for you, your attitude is in line with that. So it's what Raj was talking about. There's pillars of success. It's obsession, relentless, and fearless. And if you can't feel any of that, then figure out what's holding you back. And it's usually a no goal or a bad attitude. And you have to work then with praxis, which is the belief and behavior, belief and together with your behavior. So what is it that's what needs to change? You need to pull out your little toolkit and start figuring out with the attitude. Listen to that song from Bob. That will shift your attitude like that. And then when your attitude has changed and you're clearer feeling, then you're able to look at your goal objectively and see what it is you might want to tweak on that goal to really fire me up. And what Bob has always said, what he does and did was, if he had a situation he wasn't sure of, it's a problem, he didn't exactly know what way he wanted to handle it, he writes it out. You get it out of you. He wrote it on a piece of paper and he put it on the table. And then he would move around the table and he'd sit in one chair at the table looking at the thing on the paper because now it's not him. He doesn't have an opinion about it. He's open and he sits in one chair and he says, well, now what would Earl Nightingale, what would he do about this? And then he'd get inspiration. He'd get something. Then he'd sit in another chair. You know, well, what would Leland Van Vanderwalt say about this for me, which was one of his big mentors? And he would go through all of his mentors who are all gone now. But he would go from chair to chair and get the energy of their thinking of how they would address that situation. And that's a great thing for us to do. And if we have something if we don't feel like our goal is exactly like we want it to be, listen to that song that Bob talked about. And just shift your energy and write that goal on a piece of paper and put it on the middle of the table. And then just go from person to person that you admire, that you appreciate what they have to say. You value their opinion and their input. And then see what you come up with. Things will change. Things will change. Cheryl, did you want to say something?
I just was thinking, we can do that on a small level with just each other. Just, what would Bonnie say? What would Debbie say? What would Madalyn say to me? And then I always have to start with that little tiny shift before I can move to what would Proctor say or Nightingale say, because that sometimes seems too far for me to reach. So I want to start that little momentum little.
However you're most comfortable with, but they are not any wiser than you. Your wisdom is from inside.
Right. But it's that, I remember that connection. If I was sitting in group, if I was on a call, I think different on a call than I do off the call. I mean, don't y'all?
I don't know.
And feel different. Well, you're always out there.
I was going to say, I don't know what I do.
What am I saying?
I haven't noticed that.
How are you different off a call than on a call? I've just got to know. Yeah, Cheryl, you got my interest now.
Well, for one, I talked about this last night. I'm in a book club with these spirit women. It's that sense of connection and community.
Yeah.
That I don't carry with me during the day that I'm missing. And I don't talk to myself about these things, which is actually what the training is about, is I should talk to myself all day long about, my fantasy. Mm-hmm. So it's just that awareness that, I'm different. I don't necessarily wear lipstick all day long. I mean, there's just a little shift of difference that I feel connected in y'all, and listening changes that vibration of connecting in. That's the whole point, whether we see each other live or whether we see it afterwards, it's there. Whether it's later on in the evening or the next day and we're not on, once I think of being connected in with a group, that can shift me, especially if you're really down and low. It's like, okay, that can shift me. And any little piece lets it flow.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Thank you for sharing.
Think about it. I think we're all different if we think someone's looking at us.
That's true. Lord knows I'll work out harder if I'm on Zoom with the instructor.
I won't pick at my nose as much.
No, I will echo that, Cheryl, that, plugging into community and having community support is very important. And my wish for you is that you feel that whether we're on a call or not, because
Yeah,
that's
and that's one of my goals.
I will support you in that goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's just a memory. It's just an attitude comes from a paradigm shift of I'm not connected, and say, no, actually, with those woo-woo girls, I can be connected just like that.
Yeah.
Yep. That works, doesn't it? So I have one other thing, and then we'll end the call because we're going a little long here, which I love. Raj gave us a 3-step formula to be a goal achiever. Did you catch that, Debbie? You take such good notes. I always love to bounce my notes off of you. It was toward the end, I believe.
It wasn't the ABC goals? No. Okay.
Mm-mm. So the 3-step formula that he shared, you got it, Debbie? You're unmuted.
Look for the best people and ideas, radiate well-being and confidence, and treat all as most important. That one?
Well, that's good, but that's not his 3-step formula to be a goal achiever.
Oh.
For being a goal achiever, number one is you fuse with your goal.
Say that again.
Fuse with your goal.
Yeah.
Number 2 is create identity-based behaviors that are matching the goal. And number 3 is be process-driven. So every day, come up with 3 to 6 goal-changing activities every day. Now, you don't have to do 6, but he says you do need to do 3 out of 3. So if you want your goal to actually come into formation, into reality, you have to fuse with it. You have to create the identity based on the behaviors of that goal, and then be process driven. And then it stays then in the forefront of your mind all the time. And this is where, again, he said your spiritual DNA is perfect. It requires no modification or improvement. So, and then Monica is saying, look at your daily actions and ask yourself, did I do 1% better today than I did yesterday? We talked about the 1%. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, and Raj says, someone said, it's be, do, and have, not flipped around. It's who are you to be? So be. What do you do so that you can have? Be, do, and have. Be honest. And how do you be honest when you're looking at yourself? How do you see yourself? Who do I need to become? Who was that person? And get that momentum. Or who is that person? So there's a lot of questions that these thought leaders, I'm using your word, Bonnie, I love it, is they ask themselves a set of questions in the morning when they get up and at night before they go to bed. How did I serve? How did I show up 1% better today? What do I need to do differently tomorrow? Things like that. And when you're in good health, that's easy to do. But when you think you're not feeling good, you're going to have to trick yourself into feeling well enough in whatever way you can, like take a little mini power nap or something, even before bedtime, so that you can write out what you need to do. I catch myself doing that. It just depends on my energy level. And according to Bob, we're full of energy. So we should not run out of energy, but our physical body is still adjusting to what we know of our spiritual DNA. We have a germination period that we go through. That's what I want to call it.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
The germination period. I believe that is a real thing.
It is.
A real thing. And One thing that I can say that these thought leaders have helped me with and continue to is getting to, bless you, Cheryl, getting to my core why. Why do I want this? Who am I? Who am I? Who wants this? What is the purpose? That's the soul searching. And it's in there.
It's great.
It takes constant, I mean, I've got this little polished stone in my hand. It takes constant polishing. It never, ever lets up. Once you step on that path, man, there is no going back.
No, it's great. I like that you say why, because it is about what do you want? What do you want? So I have some notes here that one of the coaches put out somewhere I wanted to share. He said, Arash is giving us the how at a high level. Mentorship and accountability will allow you to take a deep dive. And it's about do it now. Like, don't wait, get going now. What's holding you back? And then he says, do you want it? The only prerequisite, do you want it? And I like, then why? What is it? Why? And take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. This is what Bob said in the beginning of the video. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. Somebody he quoted says, all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream at night in the dusty recesses of their mind wake in the day to find it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men. But they enact their dream with open eyes to make it possible. And then Bob said, this I did, which I thought was great. And then this coach also wrote, realize that at one time, A goals and B goals were our C goals. That's all we knew was our A goals and B goals. So now stretch even more and set your C goal and take action. That big, big thing you could not imagine to happen. Your goal should be so important that you cannot forget it, and your hunger for your externalization so intense that you will not let the thought go until it is embodied in flesh. And that's a quote from Neville Goddard. So those are good thoughts to leave with, don't you think? I can't wait to see what they're going to give us tomorrow, because I'm kind of like, but it's great.
Juicy, juicy.
I love you guys. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, Judy, for being here too. Anybody else on the replay, let me know you're there. Okay, make a comment. Bye.
Thank you all. Love you much.
Love you.